Hello everyone, I am Dr. Mohit Kumar Tiwari. I am working in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. There I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Applied Science and Humanities. I am taking the subject Soft Skills 1 in the first year. So today I am going to discuss on the topic active and passive voice. So let's see what is active and passive voice. Dear students, as you all know that active and passive voice are the part of the grammar. What is grammar? Grammar is a set rules or a set patterns of a language, or we can say the systematic way to describe the words, sentences, paragraphs and all. A systematic way to describe a language. As one of the renowned linguist man, Ferdinand de Saussure, says about the language, that language is the system of systems, or it is a systematic way to describe our views, thoughts, feelings, sentiments and emotions, either through oral medium or through verbal medium. So, introduction. The first will be our introduction. The second will be types of voice. Then we will have definition of active and passive voice, rule of active voice and passive voice, forms of active and passive voice for all tenses, practice, having some questions also for the practice given with the solution. So, students, introduction. Before I come on the main topic, active and passive voice, let's first understand that what is voice. What is voice? Voice is the form of a verb which indicate whether the subject of the verb performs or receive the actions. It is written here, whether the subject of the verb performs or receives the action. For example, if I say, I cleaned the room. Sorry, some mistakes. I cleaned the room. Or we can say also, I clean the room. You can have like this also in a simple way. So we see the subject of the verb, the subject is I, verb is clean, verb means an action and performance, something which is going on. Verb, subject. object. The room is the object. So, indicate whether the subject of the verb performs, whether the subject is performing or receive the action. It is voice. How it will receive? If I say the room is cleaned by me. Now, I can say first the subject of the verb performs, the subject is performing, or receive the action, the subject is receiving the action. Now, here we see the subject become the object and the object become the subject. That is why it is said over here, the verb performs or receive the action. The verb performs or receive the action. Secondly, also we can say that voice refers whether the subject of sentence performs the action or is affected by it. Whether the subject of a sentence performs the action, subject I performs the action in a different way. It is being said over here, whether the subject of a sentence performs the action, action is clean, which is verb, or is affected by it. Affected, like second one, the room is cleaned by me. Also, in other word, voice is something which concentrates on the quality of a verb. On the quality of a verb. It tells us whether its subject acts or is acted upon. It tells us whether its subject acts or is acted upon. So, we see that the voice is something which concentrates on the quality of the verb. Like here the verb is clean. In the second one, it is cleaned. Quality 1, quality 2. So, therefore, on the quality of a verb, concentrate on the quality of the verb. So, it tells us whether its subject acts or is acted upon. Here the subject is acting or is, in the second one, is acted upon. This is the introduction of the voice, that what is voice and how this voice is going to help us in active voice and in passive voice. Active voice and passive voice. So, types of voice, active voice and passive voice. If I say, I am writing a letter. I am writing a letter. So, here I am directly saying that what I am doing? I am writing a letter. Means my conversation with you, my communication with you is in direct form. That is what, when the word active is added to the voice, said that this sentence is in active voice. Means I am conveying my message directly to you. Secondly, second one, passive voice. I said, I am writing a letter. I can also say to you, if you ask me, what are you doing? I can say, the letter is being written by me. The letter is being written by me. The same meaning is conveyed through different way, through different pattern, but the meaning is the same. I have said in passive voice, I am saying the same thing in an indirect way or in a round way. I am not directly conveying to you, I am conveying the things in an indirect form to you. That is what the active and passive voice. Now, let's have the definition of first active voice in different ways. Active voice. What is active voice? Here the question comes, what is active voice? Whenever there is a question, there is always an interrogative sign. Never forget this. Active voice. We see, active voice is used to show the subject. Active voice is used to show the subject of the sentence. I repeat, active voice is used to show that the subject of the sentence is performing or causing the action It is because the subject is active. It is so because the subject is active. I took the example on the first slide. Very simple example of simple present tense. I clean the room. Again I am writing, I clean the room. Active voice is used to show that the subject of the sentence is performing or causing the action. Subject, the focus is on the subject part, that the subject of the sentence, it is the sentence is performing, it is performing the action. It is so because the subject is active. Here the subject I is in active form. So I clean the room. Who clean the room? I. I am active. I am cleaning the room. What are you doing? I am cleaning the room. Who cleans the room? I clean the room. When the question comes, who clean the room? I clean the room. So, we see here the subject I is active, clean is verb, the room is the object. That's what's the meaning of this. Secondly, we see active voice is a quality of a verb that describes when its subject is acting out the verb. That describes when its subject is acting out the verb. I repeat, active voice is a quality of a verb. What? Quality. Active voice is a quality of a verb. Point to be noted. That describes when its subject is acting out the verb. That describes that when its subject is acting out the verb. So, we see the active voice depends on the quality of the verb. I clean the room. What is the quality of a verb? You see in clean that it is, the room is clean by, the room is cleaned by me. First, it is clean, and second, it becomes cleaned by me. So, active voice is a quality of a verb that describes when its subject is acting out the verb. Third point, the active voice in a sentence denotes that the noun or pronoun that acts as the subject in the sentence is the doer of the action. Is the doer of the action. I repeat, the active voice in a sentence, the active voice in a sentence denotes that the noun or pronoun, we all know what is noun. Noun is the name of person, place, animals or things. Pronoun, the words which are used in place of a noun are called as pronoun. So, the active voice in a sentence denotes that the noun or pronoun that acts as the subject in the sentence is the doer of the action. They are called the doer of the action. Action means verb. Doer will be subject. Subject. So, now we see the active voice in a sentence denotes that the noun or the pronoun that acts as the subject in the sentence is the doer of the action. Is the doer of the action. Now, the definition of active voice as per Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary and Collins Dictionary. What these two dictionaries says about the active voice. The fact is fact about the active voice. The active voice will remain the active voice only, as we have discussed. But as per the Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary and the Collins Dictionary, let's see how they describe the active voice. According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, the active voice is defined as the form of a verb in which the subject is the person, or thing that performs the action. So, you see that as per the Advanced Learner Dictionary, the active voice is defined as the form of a verb, active voice as a form of a verb. Let me notice this, as the form of a verb in which the subject is the person or thing that performs, means action. Subject means you can have he, she, it, they, I, Ram, Shyam, Mohan, Gopal, any person or thing that performs the action, and according to Collins Dictionary now, the active voice is defined as a voice of verbs. What is verb? Which shows an action. So, the active voice is defined as the voice of verbs used to indicate that the subject of a sentence is performing, the action or causing the event or process described by the verb. So, these are two more definitions as per the Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary and the Collins Dictionary. So, theoretically, I hope it is clear that what is an active voice theoretically. We'll come back later with some examples of active voice also. See, the examples of active voice. Active voice, subject, verb, object. Subject should be there, requirement of verb is there, and the object is also required. Examples: I decorated the hall. If I say I decorated the hall, you see that I is the subject, decorated is the verb, the hall is the object. I, as we have seen here, subject is the person or thing. Subject is the person or thing. Decorated is the verb because the action is there. I am decorating something, I am working on something. The work is going on. I am busy in the decoration part. So, decorated is verb, the hall is the object. Second example, Devi gave Santi a gift. Subject, verb, object. Shanti a gift. Third one, they will do the work. They will do the work. Who will? They will. Who is the subject? They is the subject. What is the verb? Will do. Will do is the verb. Means, will means future. They will do the what? The work. The work is the object. They will do the work. They will do the work. The mother is feeding the baby. So the question is, what is mother doing? Mother is feeding the baby. In she is in action, she is in working mode. Feeding gives the meaning that she is in action, she is in working mode. What the work she is doing? She is feeding her child. Who? Mother. Whom? Baby. So what is the subject? The mother is the subject. Doing what? Is feeding. Action means verb. Is feeding. Is the helping verb or linking verb we can say. Is feeding. The baby is the object. So these are the examples of the active voice. That in active voice we have subject, verb and object. Next, passive voice. Again, let's have the definition first and the examples later. Let's understand it theoretically first, then practically we will practice with the help of the examples. Passive voice. When the action expressed, action, I repeat, when the action expressed by the verb, I again repeat, when the action expressed by the verb is received by the subject, the action is received by the subject, it is passive voice. In the very first slide, there was one sentence, I clean the room. I have written there, I clean the room. I, subject, verb, object. Now, as per the definition, when the action expressed by the verb, action is expressed by the verb, is received by the subject, it will be received by the subject, then it will become passive voice. How? The room is cleaned by me. I repeat again. Action expressed by the verb, received by the subject. Action expressed by the verb. So, we got this as this, the room is cleaned by me. Now, what is the subject? The room. Verb is cleaned by me is the object. Secondly, passive voice is used when the doer, passive voice is used when the doer of the action, I repeat, when the doer of the action is not known. Passive voice is used when the doer of the action is not known and the focus of the sentence is on the action and not on the subject. Once again, passive voice is used when the doer of the action, see in this example, the doer of the action is not known. Is not known and the focus of the sentence is on the action, not the subject. Here the focus is on the action. The room is cleaned by me. It is not on the subject. I. Third way, we can see the passive voice, on the other hand, we can say represents that the subject is one, acted upon by the action. I repeat, the passive voice on the other hand represents that the subject is one acted upon, by the action or verb in the sentence, It can also be said that the passive voice indicates that the subject in the sentence is no longer active but passive. Here comes the conclusion that the subject in the sentence is no longer active but passive. Subject, this is no longer active here, no longer active but passive, but it is working in a passive form, but it is passive. So, subject is not active in the second one, the object becomes the active part. So, that is how we can say that the subject is, or we can conclude that the subject is no longer active but passive. Now, also as per the Advanced Learner Dictionary, we can define the passive voice as a form of a verb, used when the subject is affected by the action, when the subject is affected by the action of the verb. Subject Ram is writing a letter. A letter is being written by Ram. So we see the subject is affected, subject Ram is affected by the action of the verb. And according to the Collins dictionary, the passive voice is formed using be and the past participle of a verb. So, past participle and also using be of a verb, the subject of a passive clause does not perform the action expressed by the verb but is affected by it. So, this is what the definition of the passive voice as per the Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary and as per the Collins Dictionary. Next, here are the examples of the passive voice. The things changed in comparison to the active voice. In active voice, there was first subject, then verb, then object. But now, in passive voice, we have object first, verb, then subject. For example, in active voice, we have seen I decorated the hall. I is the subject, decorate verb, the hall is the object. Now, in passive voice, the same sentence is said as the hall was decorated by me. The hall was decorated by me. Second one, Devi gave Santi a gift in active voice. Passive, Santi was given a gift by Devi. Fourth one, the work, here in active, we see they will do the work. The work will be done by them. The mother is feeding the baby. The baby is being fed by the mother. So, passive voice talks first object, then verb, then subject. Object is the hall. Object was decorated by me. Was decorated verb by me is the subject. Again, Santi here becomes the object, was given verb, a gift by Devi becomes the subject. We have Santi was given a gift, was given a gift by Devi. The work will be done by them. The work will be done by them. Subject is at the last, verb is in between, object in first. The baby is being fed by the mother. So, object is first, the baby, verb is being fed, subject by the mother. By whom? By mother. Who is the subject? Mother is the subject. But it is in last. Like in active voice, the subject was first, then verb, then object. So, this is about the active and passive voice with examples, the difference between. Next, active passive relation. Through definition, I tried to explain you that what is the relation between the active and passive voice. Also through the definition of the Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary and Collins Dictionary, we learned the relation between the two. Now, let us have the understanding of this relation with one more example. Active. Monica opened the door. Monica opened the door. Passive. The door was opened by Monica. This is what the relation between the active and passive voice. We see Monica is the subject, verb is opened, object is the door. Object is the door. In passive, the door here becomes the object, was opened will remain the verb, and Monica subject, verb, object. So this is the relation between active and passive. Next, there are some rules also for the active and the passive voice. Let's see what are those rules. We see rule 1. Rule 1, identify the subject, verb and object. Subject, verb and object we see in the active sentence to convert to passive voice. To convert to passive voice. For example, he drives car, subject is he, verb is drives, object is car. Rule 2. Interchange the object and subject with each other. That means object of the active voice become the subject of the passive voice. Object of the active voice become the subject of the passive voice. With example, let's see. Rule 2. She knits sweater. Subject she, verb knits, object sweater. Now in passive, the sweater is knitted by her. Object sweater is interchanged with the subject she. This is the rule 2. Next, rule 3. In passive voice, sometimes the subject is not used. In passive voice, sometimes the subject is not used. That means the subject in passive voice can be omitted if the sentence without it gives enough meaning. Mind it. If the sentence without it gives enough meaning. For example, milk is sold in liters. Here the subject is omitted as per the rule 3. But when subject is omitted, if the sentence without it gives enough meaning. Okay. Next, rule 4. Change the base verb. Rule 4. In rule 4, we see change the base verb in active sentence into past participle. That means third form. A passive sentence preceded by with two base verbs are never used in passive voice sentences. Let's see with the examples also. Active voice, for example, she prepares dinner. What? She prepares dinners. In passive, the dinner is prepared by her. The dinner is prepared by her, making use of by as per the rule 4. She knows him. He is known to her, making use of to as per rule 4. Juice fills the jar. The jar is filled with juice, making use of with as per the rule 4. Next, rule 5. In rule 5, we see while conversion of active sentence to passive voice sentence, the pronoun used in the sentence also changes in the following manner. Active voice pronouns. Generally, we say like I, we, he, she, they, you, it. In passive voice, I become me, we, us, he, him, she, her, they, them, you will remain you, it will remain it. So, it is as per the pronoun used in the sentence also changes the, let's see how it changes. For example, active voice, he played cricket. If I give an example, he played cricket. The passive will become cricket was played by him. Cricket was played by him as per the rule 5, pronoun, making use of the pronouns. Okay, played by him. He becomes him. This he becomes him. Now again one more example. They were helping the poor. The poor were being helped by them. Now they becomes them. This is as per the rule 5, making use of the pronouns from active to passive voice. Next, rule 6. Use the suitable helping or auxiliary verb. Helping verb or auxiliary verb are like is, am, are, was, etc. The rules for using auxiliary verbs in passive voice sentence are different for each tense. They are different for each tense. For example, as per the rule 6, we see, if I give the example, the letter is written by her. A book was not bought by her. Chocolates are being eaten by them. Is, am, are, was. The rules for using auxiliary verb in passive voice sentence are different for each tense. Is, was, the chocolates are. So we see it is getting different as per this rule. Is, was, are. So the rules for using auxiliary verbs in passive voice sentence are different for each tense. As the tense changes, there will be some changes in the sentence also. Now, forms of active and passive voice for all tenses, like simple present tense. Simple present tense. For example, the active voice in simple present tense. Very simple example. He writes an essay. In passive, we will say an essay is written by him. She cares for the rabbit. The rabbit is being cared for by her. The rabbit is being cared for by her. So this is simple present tense. Next, present continuous tense. I repeat, present continuous tense. The work is in present form, but it is continuing. So how it plays the role in active and passive? Let's take some example and understand in a better way. Bob is drawing a diagram. If I say Bob is drawing a diagram, the work is going on. How? Drawing means he is doing. The work is in continuous mode. So passive, a diagram is being drawn by Bob. A diagram is being drawn by Bob. She is waiting for Rima. Rima is being waited for by her. We'll say. Next, present perfect tense. In present perfect tense means the present perfect. At present, the work is in perfect form. For example, active voice, has he done the work? Has the work been done by him? In passive voice. Second example, he read the newspaper. The newspaper is being read by him. So this is what called present perfect tense. He read the newspaper. In passive, the newspaper is being read by him. Next, simple past tense, active form. The example of simple past tense. Ria paid the bills. The bills were paid by Ria, passive form. She did not buy the fruits. The fruits were not bought by her. The fruits were not bought by her. So these are the examples of the simple past tense. Next, past continuous tense or progressive. We can say progressive also. How? active sentence. Example, they were waiting for him. They were waiting for him. Active voice. Continuous tense, progressive. Waiting for him. Continuous. In passive form, he was being waited for by them. Past, progressive or continuous tense. He was being waited for by them. Second example, she was playing kabaddi. Kabaddi was being played by her. Kabaddi was being played by her. Okay. Next, past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Here we see, with the help of the example, she won the match in active form. In passive form, we will say the match had been won by her. The match had been won by her. It is about past perfect tense. Totally perfect. Past perfect. So, had been won by her. I had finished her work. In the passive form, I will say her work had been finished by me. The work is already done because it is past perfect tense. Next, simple future tense. In simple future tense, we see if example for he will write a letter. A letter will be written by him. I am saying he will write a letter. Future. I am talking about the future. He will write a letter. So, in passive form, I can say a letter will be written by him. Second example, he will repair her cycle. Future. He will repair in future tense. So, in passive form, I can say her cycle will be repaired by him. Her cycle will be repaired by him. Next, future perfect tense. What we say in this active sentence? They will have won the match. They will have won the match. Future perfect. I am talking about future perfect. They will have won the match. Future perfect. Won the match. Passive form. The match will have been won by them. They become the them. Will have been. Because I am talking about the future perfect tense, so it will be will have been won by them. Second example, Reena will have washed the skirt. The skirt will have been washed by Reena. So, this is what about the future perfect tense. Next, here are some practice questions for you all to practice, and these practice questions are also given are also provided with the solutions also. Please practice first and then check your solution part. Let me pronounce the sentences. A lot of old songs dash on the radio last week. Option is given play. The president dash about the coup in Central America. Option is given just inform. If I dash you, I would go to the meeting. Option B, the bank manager told me that the house dash for. Option not pay. Fifth, I dash the guitar since I was in nursery school. Option play. Margie is very happy because she dash an engagement ring from her boyfriend. Option is given just receive. I dash after the children while the garage dash option look repair. When Jane came to the office, she found out that her boss dash already leave. Please don't interrupt us. We dash an important conversation have. I reported to the police that my stamp collection dash the week before still. So, these are the practice questions. Just practice this and then look at the solution given. I hope it is okay for you all. I can say that I tried my best to make you understand the best part of the active and passive voice through the best mode. Hope you all have enhanced your knowledge with this lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.